Yes. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Tim McKernan Show podcast. We thank our sponsors for making it possible. That's Mark Hanna, Evergreen Wealth Strategies. Boy, he's a big Tim McKernan Show guy, Jackson.
Love that. Love Mark Hanna.
He's online at evergreenstl.com. James Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency. Big QFTA guy as well. Seth Goldcamp, Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling. I don't know that he's not. Mm-hmm. I don't know that he is.
Right.
I just know that James and Mark make it clear that they are.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the great Jamie Burkhardt and Peter Munganast of Munganast St. Louis Acura, Munganast Burkhardt, Alton Toyota. I'm going into the YouTube chat here and seeing what's doing. Jackson, what's going on with you for New Year's Eve? I want to live vicariously through you because I think it was New Year's Eve when the gentleman rolled the office chair in and proceeded to pleasure himself.
Fair. Don't have any concrete plans as of now. I'll be with my girlfriend. Not sure what we're going to do. Might not be some crazy. Oftentimes New Year's Eve is quite an expensive evening, and when you're in like a happy relationship, I don't see the need to like spend a ton of money. Like if you're a single guy out there trying to start off the new year with a bang, nice. I could see spending like $100 on a ticket to some bar and trying to get after it. But for me, not necessarily where I'm at. Certainly
because you're a man in love.
Indeed. And so I'll hang out with my girlfriend. I'll probably meet some friends down at a bar for a little bit, but I doubt we're going crazy until 3 in the morning.
What cocktail lunch?
I don't know. I really have no idea. No concrete plans. Kind of just living day by day, baby. So I'm not positive.
So cryptic. Let's see. Major tip of the cap to KG last week for running the board. He was a seasoned pro. That's from Jake Reynolds.
God bless. Yeah, it's not an easy task. It can be overwhelming at times, but I trusted Kurt to handle it, and he sure did. So that's good to hear. Did
you listen to any of the shows?
I did not.
What's that all about?
What is that all about? Just because, part of being off is kind of just, unplugging. Totally taking yourself away from the product, from the workplace, and just trying to, come back so your batteries are totally recharged. I felt recharged today.
Do you know why I came back on Friday when I was supposed to be off Thursday and Friday?
I do not know.
Do you really not know?
Well,
do you really, 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 really know that if you bluff at the pot, I will know if you're bluffing at the pot? Do you know? Do you just look down and to the right, just so you know?
Well, let's say that if we weren't live on YouTube, I'd venture a couple of guesses. But since we are, I'll play the silly little boy and say I don't know.
Because I hadn't talked with you about it.
No, I just saw
in the text. There's a group. There's 2 different TMA group chats.
It's true.
What's that about? I think that's an accident.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think we originally made one of just you, me, Doug, and Martin.
Right. But I text the same thing because it's not like I'm like, oh, Kurt's in it. I can't say this.
Right.
So I don't know. But anyway, there's one with the whole. So here's what happened. I think people find. I try to give people something on QFTA that they don't get on TMA.
Easter egg.
An Easter egg. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Thursday afternoon. I hadn't taken a vacation day from the show since, I believe, the first weekend in August or the last weekend in July, which is a little insane. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I don't think it's like you're taking a bunch of vacation. Mm-hmm. But either way, whatever. That's fine. I mean, I enjoy doing the show, so it's not like it's a huge deal. But I'm out family golf with my younger son. And then, for whatever reason, the woman in the house hadn't gotten bananas. And so me and the 2-year-old are really pissed about not having bananas.
You don't ask for much.
I don't ask for much. And the 2-year-old was hitting balls next to, as it turns out, 2-time Big Ten champion Mac McClear, who I wasn't familiar with, but somebody came up to me and goes, you know who your son's hitting balls next to? Looks like he's got a nice swing. I don't know him, though. Right. He goes, look up Mac McClear. He won at Iowa back-to-back years, 2019, 2020, Big Ten golfer. And so I've got a nice little video of the 2-year-old next to the 2-time Big Ten champion. And, and then I was ready to leave, and then he wanted to go to the putting green. Time my sons want to play, I'll play. Doesn't matter. So that's what we're going to do as long as they want to do it, because I know that won't last forever. And I said, hey, you know what? Even though we can't talk because he can't talk much, I said, I think it'd be good to go get some bananas. Yeah. So let's go get some bananas.
Sure.
So we're going to go over to get some bananas. We go to get bananas. And then I get a text from station management that they had gotten a bunch of complaints about Thursday's TMA. And I was reading, and I was like, I didn't listen either.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was Doug and Martin, and the details of what the complaints were about were, I'm like, there's no way that was Doug or Martin.
Right.
And so this is where I default to, which I don't know if this is sad, but this is a peek inside of the mind after doing this show for 20 years, is I'm like, okay, like a group of guys are off.
Yeah.
And they're contacting management saying that
stirring some
Doug
shit
most
up.
likely, read, some stuff because it was about, some like graphic things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's just no way that Doug or Martin
went rogue.
I think Martin is even like more with the right conservative, prude, whatever it is with the content than Doug is.
Right.
And so I'm like, God, these fucking people. I'm in the parking lot about to go get the bananas, and I'm reading this text, and I'm like, where, pray tell, I can find the audio of this butt plug story that Doug and Martin felt like they had to read.
Oh my God.
And I follow up.
Yeah.
It's a text with John Kiowski, Tommy Mattern, and myself. And John's like, I know you weren't in, but I just wanted to let you know we really haven't gotten complaints. Like, people love the show, and it's gone well here 2 months in, but I haven't gotten complaints like this. And I'm like, okay, I said, but he didn't hear it. Sure. And so in my mind, I'm like, okay, a group of guys contacted the station just to stir the pot. That's what I was thinking. Because again, I know but it's not like if it would have been you, it's like, oh, Jackson's got his big chance to read his butt plug story.
I've been waiting.
And I'm like, what? So I send a text, and you're in the text, but I know you're off.
Yeah.
And I said, did something happen today?
When I read it, I thought, I was like, huh? I was like, what?
Doug and Martin are like, finally, Tim's not here. We can get into the butt plug masturbation story.
I was like on my bingo card of this Thursday. I was like, this was not on my bingo.
So I'm just looking, I'm going, it's like impossible. But just to make sure, before I say to John, I'm like, hey, I think some of our audience members are probably, just
taking the piss.
Right, yeah. Just, it's a Thursday. Most people aren't working. It's a day after Christmas. And Doug writes back, I think we had a Dear Dedra that got away.
I got away from us. Yeah, he said somewhere that made me giggle.
I go, what? I said, which one of you two decided to read Dear Dedra?
Get out of my way.
I'm like, I don't think Martin knows who the fuck Dear Dedra is.
No shot.
And Doug would only know it from Dear Dedra's, which, for the record, when we used to read them on TMA in this studio, which is the old HD2 studio, they'd be bitched about. They suck. Now we don't read them, and now, of course, they were the greatest. This is the amazing phenomenon of this show. If something isn't a part of it, it then becomes canonized. It becomes saintly and lives eternally as glorious. Yeah. So I'm like, who read the Dear Dedra? And Martin's like, well, I had to leave a little early. And I go, so Doug was just sitting there by himself? Because I didn't know. I know Kurt was running the board.
Right.
So I go and I listen at 10:50. I guess, I don't know what happened, but Kurt ran point, who's a Sound Story employee.
Right.
So then I'm thinking, oh, shit. He's not really, I guess he's an independent contractor, I guess, by definition of Hubbard. But his main job is Sound Story. And so I'm like, Chairman Kurt brings it back from break, which, struck me as surprising.
Right.
Because it's really not a tough task to say, welcome back to 101 ESPN. I'd wager anybody could do it, matter of fact. And then he goes, hey, we got some time for a Dear Dedra. And it's like a guy who can't stop masturbating while wearing a butt plug on the toilet.
Bold. I need to go back and listen.
And I'm like, oh my God, this really did happen. It's like, because in my mind, I'm like, okay, I already know what happened.
Right.
Like when I would go on vacation, not even vacation, to go play poker in Las Vegas, And the audience knew I would stay at the Venetian or Palazzo because the poker room, and then guys would leave messages, or they would love to call like at 5 a.m. So it got to a point where I just had to disconnect the phone. It's whatever. It comes with the show. It's fine, So I'm like, that's what this has to be, because there's no way with what John was texting me, the complaints were about. I'm like, there's just it's Doug and Martin.
Yeah, Martin's like, I know the Blues played last night, but let me let it rip. Merry Christmas. That'd be great.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, what the fuck, So I'm like, all right, I just let me get. We'll try to restore order, for lack of a better term,
sure.
and convey, hey, we're not just like it's the holidays. We're just gonna
yeah, fuck it.
So I'm like, okay, and it's not like anybody. To be clear,
yeah.
John and Tommy are like, you don't have to come in.
Right.
It was like, I'll just come in. It's fine. Martin's deal. Martin's only here for 3 hours. And if it's just Doug and Chairman in there and you're vacationing, then I'll come in. It's fine. So anyway, that's why I came in. There's a little backstory.
Sure.
There's the Easter egg for today's QFTA.
I did roll over on Friday because I set my alarm at like 6:30, 6:40, just in case Kurt had a question or went awry, I could help him before the show started. And I saw Tim was going there. I was like, oh, nice. I will not be going in. And I went right back to bed.
Tommy's like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, take a day off next week. And I go, but then I'd be leaving Jackson and Doug. And I don't want to do that. That isn't good to do. I appreciate his sentiment.
Sure.
But I'm like, oh, it's fine. That's the deal. But for real, when I got the text and I'm in the grocery store parking lot, I'm like, boy, these guys really came up with a good one this time. They contacted the president of the company and told them that there's too much butt plug masturbation talk
sexual
on
paraphernalia and handling yourself.
Anyway, all right. Hey, guys, 2-part question. How do you like Missouri's chances today, and why is Jackson so against fixing the drop issue? That's from Jackson's drop auditor. Jackson, he is very active in the YouTube chat during TMA. Would you like to address Jackson's drop auditor?
There is no drop issue. I played a good amount of drops today. Find my spots. We had 3 people, Wellington, Doug, Tim on, which allowed me a lot more latitude to be in the drop zone.
The drop zone, I like that.
And so you heard more drops today. Jackson's drop auditor, it's like Jake Paul fights. He can't, he has to always have a drop issue, otherwise his whole shtick is dead. So I understand why he would ask that. As to Missouri's chances, flip a coin.
Flip a coin. I really want to bet it. And I would bet Missouri, dead serious.
Mm-hmm.
But so the part of me that wants to bet Missouri, first I just want to bet it because otherwise I could see me drifting into a $30 Bovada poker tournament.
I like that term, drifting into it.
It's just the worst. I don't know how many people play. First off, I'm imagining I'm playing against bots.
Yeah, probably 6 bots and 2 guys from Northern Europe.
2 guys also watching Iowa, Missouri.
Just Adderall all over the place.
And then the structure gets to a point where it's just like shove.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, wow, I'm not really playing poker, but I could see it happening. So it's like, okay, if I what number do I need to put on it to make it worth my while to really invest in this nonsense? But then, so Brady Cook, I truly am like, this guy is on a mission. I really believe that. Now I realize that sounds like a narrative and what you'd write if you're doing a column to jerk off a fan base.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the other side of it, Eli Drinkwitz's comments downplaying the game. I'm like, I wonder if he kind of knows that this is going to be a bit of a shell operation.
Right.
And so if they lost, I'd be like, he telegraphed it. Telegraphed it.
Totally.
So I can't. So my dad texted me, and I know what he's down in Hilton Head, and the only thing he wants to do is sit in his chair, look out at the golf course, not use it, and watch football games and bet on them.
Yeah.
And he goes, who should I go with? And I said, I got to be honest. I know it's not the answer he wants because whatever I tell him, he'd bet, unless I said under, because he would never bet an under, like all sharp gamblers.
Yeah, that's right. Never bet an under or a dog.
And I said, honestly, I wouldn't bet it. He goes, all right.
That's fair.
He's so disappointed. But I'm like, I don't want to give up. I don't know.
No, you can't. You can't. Maybe a prop. I like that. I really do like
the
Brady Cook,
play?
the Russian touchdown, just because.
That's not a bad play.
I think they'll get to the 2-yard line and they'll run that fake pitch play.
This is what I hate. We don't have it in Missouri because I got to go on Bovada or my high school bookie and the shit that he puts up.
Oh, yeah. Dog shit odds.
Yeah, maybe that's what I would do, like something on a
little prop.
Prop where I can hit big. I do like the Josh Manning play.
Yeah. Because I assume they're going to try to toss it around as much. Like Brady being his last game.
Yeah.
He's going to try to toss it around, although he's still probably a little injured. But either, like, that's the thing is, like, if you're reading the tea leaves with Drinkwitz, like last year, beating Ohio State Cotton Bowl, like that was a great opportunity to bring momentum into the next season. Like it was great for him. You can say you beat Ohio State regardless of who opted in or opted out. You have the main core coming back for next year. Is a great way to advertise for the program for next year. This one, it's going to be kind of a changing of the guard next year with a new quarterback, obviously no Luther. And so if you kind of downplay it that way, you don't have a loss like leaving a bad taste in fans' mouth going into next season if you kind of downplay it, if you lose to Iowa, because at the end of the day, these are all just exhibition nonsense.
Right. I just was surprised on the front end before the chance to win it, he said that, and I couldn't respect it more.
Sure.
I just appreciate, because it'd be easy to hype it up. And then if they lose, downplay it, but to say it on the front end, I appreciated that. Let's see what I got. Sup, boys? This is for Brother Abear. Sup, boys? Headed across the mighty Mississippi so I can place a wager. Flip the switch anytime now, Missouri. Boy, I couldn't agree more with Brother Abear. God, what I wouldn't do.
This sucks.
Because I think you get 8-1 on the over-under being 60. And for real, I'd put something on that from, what is that, Pestis from Festus called in?
Ride, just to ride. Just to
like throw on something on that? Oh, my God. Let's see. You mentioned on last week's QFTA, Jerry Jones being the power broker of the NFL. Think this is true along with Robert Kraft. When those two kick the bucket, who will be the next to run things? That's from Ben D.
Did we talk about this on QFTA last week? I'm trying to remember.
It's possible.
I've
certainly
anything is really possible.
Absolutely. I don't. That you know what? I've never thought about that, but it's a good question. Who's a mover and shaker in the NFL? I feel like I'm missing an obvious one, but I could be.
It's so many of these like group-owned things, so it's kind of tough to like the days of one Jerry Jones. I mean, Jerry Jones is like grooming his children to take over the team, so I would just imagine the Jones family.
What about Clark Hunt?
Clark Hunt, yeah, definitely.
Of our Chiefs.
I could see that.
Yeah.
And then Kraft, I don't know what the plan is, like the Patriots' succession plan is, but I mean,
both have active sons.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I think like these are family owned, and I assume that they'll be passed down. So the Kraft family and the Jones family will just continue to run things.
Hey, fellas, looking snazzy as always. I get to participate in a fireside chat in about a week with Luke Voigt and Matt Adams, hosted by radio legend Martin Kilcoyne, for a fundraiser for my son's high school baseball team. The question is, do I reveal my text name? I don't know your text name, so I don't know how to answer that, but I would go ahead and do it. I think Martin would enjoy that. Martin's getting familiar with the texters. Martin's fascinated by the text history.
Yeah.
Because he can't tell like what's a kind of a roast and what's like legitimate, like, oh, heads up.
Yeah.
Situation.
Yeah.
So he'll be scrolling text history, and then he'll go, this guy I noticed just sits and listens to the station all day and complains every like 3 minutes. He goes, why would you do that?
I like how he's saying that he's on season 3 of TMA. He's catching up. He's
catching up season 3.
Because I did see a TikTok of a guy who's like, I just got into this NFL thing. I'm only on season 3, so don't ruin anything for me. He goes, but this they invented this forward pass. It's really changed the game. I thought it was one of the best TikToks I've ever seen.
Does the TMA move to 101 happen if you two didn't do Balloon Party and find success there? Also, in sports gambling being approved, going to be an advertising boon for 101. That's from David Ellington. Yes. On the second question, yes, it would be for 101. Absolutely. It'll be for advertising in St. Louis across the board.
Yeah, big time.
In a major way. I mean, these companies were spending money when it was just in Illinois. When we came over in 2022, FanDuel, I think, was the one that was all over.
Yeah, 101.
101.
Yep.
Yeah. Does the TMA move to 101 happen if you didn't do Balloon Party and find success there? I don't think so. I think I mean, the plan from Tommy Mattern's standpoint was the reason for Balloon Party, was to kind of introduce the audience to, I guess, us with the 1 hour. And then that way, if/when we went to 101, it wouldn't be a shock to the system. So the system was shocked in January of 2022,
Yep.
as opposed to. But I guess it went. Well, I mean, I guess I don't know. I always judge things by how much money I make, and I don't really know what the other scoreboard is. And so I guess from that standpoint, for the station, it went well, and so that is why. I mean, the wheels were in motion for us to 101. I mean, at this point now, 16, 17 months ago, it's when it started. That's when the conversation started. But that's because Balloon Party had gained a following in our little 10 to 11 time slot. Let's see. Can I ask what the complaints were on Thursday? I really enjoyed each day last week, more like TMA that I'm used to. It wasn't about the whole show at all. It was about 1 minute Dear Dedra. And so that's all it was about. It wasn't complaints. It was about that specific
segment.
Letter,
Yeah,
I suppose,
right.
is what it was, but it wasn't about the show at all. Let's see. I always, a Thursday show ruled, by the way. I always, well, I mean, you know, it ruled so well that I had to come back in. I always loved Dear Dedra or whatever, but that was classic TMA. I thought that's what Hubbard wanted when they moved. Oh, Jake, are we going to do this again? No, that's not what Hubbard wanted to get away from hardcore sports. That's what they wanted to get away from. I don't think Hubbard said, "Hey, we need you guys to do Dear Dedra." The goalposts move on this topic.
All the time.
It's but I'm happy to answer any question I can. It's just like I feel like in the TMA social media bubbles, there are fake truths out there that I would love to address, but I don't get asked the questions directly. And so I appreciate Jake that he asked the questions. But Jake and I have had an hour-long conversation on the phone, and I never said, yeah, Hubbard really wants Dear Dedras. So now there are things you could read, but you can't now. I thought they want what you were doing on HD2. No, that's not what a Dear Dedra. I mean, if we're going to act like Dear Dedra was the reason we were moved to 101, is that really like, so I thought I was going to tell an amusing anecdote, and this is going to turn into a thing, I guess. No, to be record. Starting to believe Brady is colorblind. White helmets. Oh, they got the white helmets today. Have you seen the uniforms?
Ooh, no, I don't. Is that if that's the case, white helmets? That would.
So there'd be white helmets, and Iowa's wearing black.
I would have to think.
Well, yeah. I mean, Iowa only wears black helmets, right?
They only wear black helmets. Yep. Nissan Stadium. They got the location, and that's a white helmet right there.
Have they shown the?
I haven't shown the.
I'm gonna go. What?
Yeah, they have.
What do we got?
All right, you want to take a?
No, I don't. I just want to hear the answer.
Black jersey, white helmet, and I don't see a pant, but I would have to assume black pant, or maybe white pant. Maybe white pant.
So that means Iowa's wearing white and yellow.
Yeah, white and yellow. Yeah. Yep. Black jersey.
I would guess Missouri's all black. It'd be my guess.
Yeah, they were all black last year against Ohio State, but they didn't have a white helmet.
Let's see. Obviously, I don't know what that means. Oh, obviously it's Mark Davis, big P.F. Chang's fan. That's correct. Hunt doesn't seem to have the outspokenness as a Jerry or Kraft. Yeah, that's from Jake Reynolds. I kind of agree with that. I don't know if he has the desire to be in that power spot that Jerry Jones did.
Yeah, I feel like Robert Kraft and Jerry Jones are like, even those two are kind of different. Like, I think Robert Kraft is in the news because of, the dynasty that they ran for so long. I think otherwise, if he won like 1 or 2 championships, I'm not sure if, Robert Kraft is a name you would hear throughout the football world. Mm-hmm. Jerry Jones is like, actually like he's like the Steve Jobs of the NFL, like he's out on Front Street addressing issues with his team and the NFL. I don't think Robert Kraft is even in that.
Yeah, I agree with you on
that kind of atmosphere.
Let's see. I was not speaking in regards to simply Dear Dedra, more the TMA content in general, which is the randomness of anything and everything. Yeah, I've hosted it for 20 years, so I'm aware. And I continue to say that when they change the clocks, and for those who didn't listen last week, and I totally understand, some people get a chance to listen and some people don't to each episode. The clock situation is a tough one, candidly, for us to talk about because it gets to a point where I think the audience goes, well, what's the truth? The truth is, when we did our first show more than 2 months ago now, Tommy Mattern walked in and said, we got to change the clocks. And in our minds, we thought, okay, that means that'll happen like in a week. Then it was going to be, I think, November 23rd, but maybe I'm off on that. For some reason, that date's in my mind. Then it was December 9th. Then it became, I thought, another date in December, and then it became either January 6th or January 13th. And I don't want to say it on 101 because it's been moved, and then I think people think, like, I'm lying or something. And I think what's really happened is there used to be, I don't know how many people who handled traffic. Do you know how many traffic means handled commercials for the stations? And you have 5 stations plus 105.7 HD2.
Right.
So with WIL, KSHE, 106.5, 101, and 105.7, and then you got the TMA all day.
Yeah, I don't know the exact numbers, so I don't want to
There were more than one, and now there's one. And so this person is responsible for all of this, and then to change the brakes. And I know some people go, well, if you were with KFNS, you could have done it. Yeah, and that was, that was KFNS. So it's just a different spot. Listen, I mean, if I had my preference, we would do it exactly like we did it on HD2 and like we did it on KFNS. But that is not our choice. And hopefully, the majority of people in the audience understand what is a choice and what is not. I think most people do. I don't know. If there is anger, I would ask, and I really would ask, like, what would you have done if you were in my spot and Jackson's spot and Doug's spot? Like, what would you have done differently? And I would love to hear the answer. If your boss tells you to do something, do you do something different? And how is that working out for you? T. McKernan at InsideSTL.com is where you can send that, or you can participate in the YouTube chat. Let's see. Does Barrett still consult for 101? If so, does this mean you're guaranteed a top 10 spot in the prestigious mid-market morning show rankings? I got a chance to meet with Jason, who I think that there is a misnomer about. I think the rankings are a joke, and we've made that clear. But Jason actually is the one who brought me John Seymour about a decade ago. Martin's relationship with Jason is something we joke about because that ended brutally. But I've seen in the YouTube chat, like, we are not allowed to play Barrett drops. No, it's just not. I don't know. I don't know where these things come from. Like, where's the incubator of the fake shit?
I played I think last week, the San Francisco drop.
But when I was meeting with him, he talked about San Francisco, and he says it's exactly like in the drop. And I'm like, I wonder if he's doing this to see if I'll react, because he talked about San Francisco so many times instead of San Francisco. I'm like, is he like trying to see if I'll break? Let's see. If we could be in the rankings, it would be, what a moment it would be. I think I get what you were saying about the show. Like, you have to sacrifice a few things for the greater good and longevity of TMA. Thanks, guys. That's from HB Cards. Yeah, I mean, the choice was binary. Do you like that, Jackson? The choice was binary?
Yes.
Is that accurate?
It's absolutely accurate.
Go to 101 or leave and take everything in-house, and then I would be responsible for selling all of the advertising, managing it all, and then your health insurance, Doug's health insurance, Iggy's health insurance, and probably would have had to generate close to what we were generating with a 20-plus person sales staff and a production staff, and do that all on my own. And I didn't really have the appetite for that. So that's kind of where things are as far as that, to give a peek behind the curtain on it. In regards to the change of the clocks, last week was still close to the TMA that I enjoyed, just randomness, and that was well within the clocks, and it worked great. Yeah, I have to tell you again, from a host standpoint, what gets tough is you do a segment and it might be great, but then we wind up, it's like a credit card. You run up debt, and then you have to catch up with it. Right. Usually in the 10 o'clock hour, we'll have like 6 2-minute segments because we're so far behind. Today at 10:35, we went to a break, and I said to Jackson, tell me we're going into 10:3. In my mind, I thought we might be going, 10:3 means hour 10, segment 3. Yeah. And each hour, as of right now, has 4 segments. because I lose track.
Yeah.
I mean, we do 16 segments.
Right.
Now, doing 4 hours is kind of I don't want to say it's a nothing, but it's so different than doing the 4 hours that we had been doing with TMA in this studio and then the 1 hour, because it's like I keep making the analogy of you're flying a plane to Chicago. You're up, you're down, you're up, you're down. And so if you like those segments, yeah, I do too. That's like I said, that's my preference. But it's not the way that it can work on 101 ESPN. And so that's why there's a binary choice. That's why there was a binary choice. And if we do longer segments in the first couple of hours, we then have to play catch up. Yeah. It's not like those spots just go, oh, we won't play them today. Right. They're already in there. And listen, I completely understand how this might sound. I don't know how it sounds, but I mean, this is getting into the intricacies of the business. But if people ask questions, I want to be able to answer them. And if it sounds confusing, I understand it, because I certainly wouldn't understand anybody else's business. I'm also not like on social media places, telling other people how to do their jobs and other businesses that I don't participate in. But with regard to this, that's the spot. So if the first segment's supposed to be 12 minutes and I go 18 minutes, then that means we now owe 6 minutes that we got to catch up. And then if you do another 18-minute segment, well, now we're 12 minutes behind, and it doesn't go away. So that's why when we would do Balloon Party, we're coming in with a clean slate from 10 to 11.
Yep.
And so it's only 1 hour, and we might be able to go long. And then oftentimes we'd come back at 10:58, and I'd have a 30-second segment, and we just go.
I see it, yeah.
So, yeah, I hope it helps explain it. I mean, I can't, I don't know. I want to try to... TMA is now at an actual real station that runs things the correct way, so obviously there's more to it than a low-bit AM radio station owned by a boot guy. Yeah, I mean, it's
different.
There's a sales staff, there's production, there's but for the most part, like for real, I think last Thursday was the first complaint text on content that I've gotten, and I'm like, the one day I take off, like, how is this? How's that possible? Which is why I didn't believe it was real.
Especially in your mind, because it's like Martin.
It's like Doug or Martin. Yeah. And I'm like, Martin doesn't know what Dear Dedra is. Yeah. And there's no way the hell Doug's like, hold on a second, Martin.
Yeah, just the idea of Doug, like, stopping anything to, like, read an article, especially one from thesun.co.uk. You know Dear Dedra is also putting up a paywall now?
No!
Fucking bullshit. Or it might not be a paywall, but they're like, you have to sign up to keep reading. I'm like,
no!
The online publication, you can't get a damn good article anywhere. It's all these places. Vulture.com makes you sign up.
Isn't that an aggregator?
Yeah, basically. They have a nice Cinegrid, daily cinema
nurse?
Not a cinnamon grid, a cinema grid that I like to play. But now you have to, like, sign up. It's a pain in the ass. Zach Zane is behind a paywall. Son of a bitch. I want to read some articles.
Killing it. Geez, Tim, why don't you just risk your job and tell the bosses to suck it, and you'll do what you want like everyone else does. I roll emoji. That's MD 2020. God bless. Reddit. Nearly all the conspiracy theories about this show can be found on Reddit by anonymous people bitching about one or all of you, and they literally know nothing of actual substance. I kind of think that might be it, but I don't know. Have you gone back and read it?
So I have read it because it's great for, like...
Now, when you say you have read it, does that mean you have read it? Or does that mean you have... I'm asking
It's like
seriously.
My House in Columbia.
Yes.
I have the app Reddit on my phone because I like using it for some good NBA discourse on there, FIFA tips, other nonsense. But I have to, like, when I first open it, I have to shield my eyes until I can hit the search bar, because sometimes the TMA STL Reddit pops up, like, right at the main feed, because I guess I've read it once or twice. And so I have to, like, shield my eyes to not see it and then type in what I want to type in so I can get what I want.
We had a I don't know what was going on last week. And I was in the YouTube chat during the show during a break, and I could tell they were talking about it. I'm legitimately curious. I go, why do you guys read that?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. But I catch myself doing it with, like, Gabe's website. Mm-hmm. I will believe stuff that...
Well, just subconsciously. I mean? It's like
yes.
it enters. It's like subliminal messaging.
So it's like QFTA becomes me fighting against made up stuff on Reddit. It's like, how many people knew about what was coming on October 28th? Was anybody predicting that on the Reddit page?
No.
I know. I'm asking you, and you didn't see it.
Yeah.
But I mean, anybody know that one?
Right.
Because it was in the works for a long time. So who really knows? But whatever. I guess the shame of the history of that situation is it was created by somebody in good faith, like thought it was a good idea. And I said, hey, just so you know, I basically had read it. It was the Inside STL message board, and that was not a good situation. Anytime you give people anonymity, and also people who have the time to hang out on those, that's kind of a mix that doesn't work. And then it was Mr. Licks who called in one time and talked about it. And right when he said it, I go, oh, that's gonna give that place life. But whatever. I mean, I can read awful things about me or you or whomever in a variety of places. I guess the thing that's kind of surprising to me is for whatever reason that's taken seriously. I don't know, but I don't know. No. So when I read these things in these chats, and I'm like, where the fuck does this come from? Maybe Carlos Spiceoliner is right, that it's the Reddit period. Yeah,
I've done over the last couple of months, just like not looking at shit that I know, like stuff like the Reddit or certain places where I just like, no, like there's no upside in me going in here and reading shit like this, so why even enter it into my mind? Like, why even think about it for one solitary second? So I don't, and I'll tell you what, I feel a lot better.
Yeah, I know, but it's just, I guess it's surprising to me that, I don't know if surprising is the right word, when it becomes like people actually believe it. Mm-hmm. Like the non-gay and I were texting about a Blues game a couple weeks ago, and I don't even know what we were talking about. Oh, I said, yeah, I signed a 5-year deal, and TMA will go through the 2020s, and because he was very complimentary about the new show, and he goes, wow, 5-year deal. He goes, you and Jim Montgomery, and I go, yeah, I guess so, me and Jim Montgomery, and he goes, I wonder how that would resonate with those guys on that Reddit page. I go, I don't get a chance to look at it as much as I would like. He goes, I actually looked at it. He goes, holy shit. Yeah. He goes, it's another level. He goes, I always wonder about the psychology of somebody who listens to a show to hate it. And I'm like, Doug voices that, but it comes with the territory. Right. I guess what's rare here is I make myself accessible to answer anything and everything, but then people don't ask me. Right. And so then I can't really answer it. And so people already have a preconceived notion of the truth, which is why I pose the question, did anybody anywhere know what was coming on October 28th? Or I guess it was October 25th.
Yeah, that Friday. Right.
I'm pretty damn confident the answer is no. Yeah. So if that's the case, then why would one believe somebody who, didn't know, whereas those of us like me, you, and Doug knew, for a while what was happening, and, that's the unfortunate nature of the business. But I don't know. That part, I don't know. I mean, there's nothing you can really do about it. I want to put myself out here, and you can email me too if you want to talk, and answer as many questions as I can regarding the whole thing. Reddit is a place for sad, angry incels to congregate and spew their anger. That's from Chief J. Strongblow. Jake Reynolds says the fan pin can be a cesspool sometimes, but at least they use their government names. Yeah, I agree with that. Although, as Jackson has said, Jake Reynolds, there's Hoosier Trojan horses?
Hoosier Trojan horse.
And what's the other one?
The nesting bodies. Both are rare moves, but I've seen them both be done.
I've seen it too now.
I've seen them both be done.
I spotted a Hoosier Trojan horse.
Those are easier to extinguish because it's so evident, because now you have some clearly burner-ass account, but it, again, started as a real account. The nesting body is
nesting body I've never witnessed.
So the nesting body, I can only think of one example, and I don't think it ever got through, but I saw the attempt be made, and I was like, oh my Lord. I was like, I did not think this was going to happen, but it did, man. And to be fair, I don't know the motive behind it, but I can take some wild guesses, and the nesting body move, it's tough. It's tough. But nesting bodies, I mean, you find that's like a social media thing now, too, as you can see that.
What is that?
Well, just like someone using an account, like buying an account of somebody who...
So that really does go... That was my theory.
Yeah.
Is there were dormant accounts, and then people would buy them to get into...
The fan page is one thing, but like on Twitter, because then you have, like, let's say account's dead, but it has 100,000 followers.
Yeah.
And... someone's like, hey, I'll take this off your hand for $500, and the person who's like probably never looked at their Twitter in 5 years is like, yeah, all right, sell it to you, and now you've started on like third base essentially if you're trying to be an asshole.
If you're trying to be, is that the business model? Trying to be an asshole?
Twitter sucks. Twitter is.
Oh my God! If I've struck a nerve, I didn't intend to. I know you've got to do best ofs, and we're an hour and 7 minutes away from kickoff.
Yeah, I can barely sit down. Yeah, that's Twitter. If I didn't have to use it for work, I would have got rid of it so fast.
Is that right?
Well, I mean, I can't.
But I've thought it was garbage for like.
Yeah, but now it's like I'm telling, and I'm not trying to be like political with it, but like letting people just buy the check mark has totally fucking ruined it. It totally is.
Oh, is that right?
It totally is, because people give credence to these bullshit accounts.
I don't think I have a check mark. I used to have a check mark.
Yeah. Well, the real people got their check mark taken away, so some burner can have it.
Oh, I have a green check mark. Is that the check mark now? It used to be a blue check mark. Wasn't that like a thing? Was that a Clay Travis thing or a Dave Portnoy thing? Blue check marks?
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is. Blue, they just used to only be blue, and it only was given to accounts that.
Now blue check mark says get verified, but when I see my account, it says a green. Or maybe that's because that's the account I'm on and not the TMA account. Maybe that's to let me know, I guess.
Fair enough. I don't know what the deal is now with the check mark. All I know is that you can buy it.
So I can get verified.
Yeah, and that means pay.
Okay, so I click on that. $7 a month.
Yeah, and then you have a.
Or I can get it for $19.08 a month. And what am I getting?
The opportunity to be taken seriously by some people and boost up probably the algorithm. Probably more people will see it. It's just such total bullshit. And
more people will see the LSU mom dancing.
Well, yeah, like in your case, it would be just be like
more gifts.
Everyone can see more gifts, but like in the case of like some of these asshat people, like you can just like say whatever you want, people, and then you have more burners in your account. Like, yeah, tell them the truth. You know, it's fucking awful. It's like hurts my stomach to read some of this shit. And people just like give it credit, and it has a blue check mark by it. No, it's totally cool. X, it's where things are happening. Yeah, my ass.
Wow.
I can't stand it. I mean, I've literally had to mute like 5 or 6 different words because, and I'm not saying this like, yes, I'm a Jewish guy, but like it was just riddled with anti-Semitism. Like
really?
Up and down. Oh my God, Dan Bilzerian, you know that name, Dan Bilzerian?
Yeah, he was a big poker guy at one point.
Yeah, well, he went on like Piers Morgan or something talking about the Holocaust. He's a Holocaust denier, and that there was. I could not scroll.
Like a guy with a beard who looks like he enjoys.
He doesn't believe the numbers. And I would scroll, I'm not joking, like once every 8 tweet in my For You page was like Dan Bilzerian, you know, in some burner account, but with a check mark being like Dan Bilzerian tells the truth about what happened in World War II. It's like, oh my God. And that just happens all the time. I see it all the time. And it's not just anti-Semitism. It's just terrible things said all the time. I hate it.
Yeah, I don't really.
Hate it so much.
I hate to hear it. I haven't heard you really kind of like.
It sucks.
Irritated by this.
And I like Twitter is like a great tool for me for like work. It's like great. It's audio, stories all the time, and it's very important that I use it. But it's like to read it for casual viewing. It's terrible. It sucks. You got to stay on the following page, so you're only seeing things of people you follow. You get on that For You page.
Yeah, I'm never on For You.
Yeah,
so
that's the move.
See what is from. I'm going to For You right now.
Yeah, well, get ready.
What am I going to say? There's Joe Buck. He's delivering a video. Oh, he's going to shave? He's shaving.
Joe Buck shaving?
Joe Buck shaving.
That's Gabe got a question once about shaving.
It's a video of Joe Buck shaving. That's what I see.
No, there's still some good stuff on there. Don't get me wrong.
Plus EV Analytics. It's an account I enjoy following.
Yeah.
60 Minutes, 101 ESPN. I don't know. So what usually goes on in the For You? There's Mark Francesa?
Yeah, just
these are all my people.
Yeah, well, maybe your For You is more curated than mine. Mine sucks. Mine sucks. And maybe it's because like I'll read some of the stuff on it that pops up and it's like, oh, you like this. It's like, no, I hate it.
Join us sickos on Blue Sky, Jackson. Martin's PC monitor.
I'm not looking to add any more social media accounts. I'm actually looking to I like TikTok. I like Instagram.
You're divesting.
I'm divesting. Yeah, I like Instagram and I like TikTok. They've figured out my algorithm. My Instagram Reels is just full of basketball drills, which I love, and my TikTok is full of like I got a Goodfellas clip on there.
Oh yeah.
And I sat in the toilet and watched like 12 minutes of Goodfellas on my TikTok account, and I loved every second of it.
I really am a fan.
I loved every second of it. So like on those, they've had me curate. But that's why I like social media for like mindless bullshit. Like I'm not trying to like get someone's opinion on climate change on there. Like it's just not like where I think the best like bastion of discourse is. Never on social media is that going to be the case, because you can have fake accounts, burners who are verified. It just makes no sense.
I don't know how to accomplish this, but I'm asking this in good faith. Mm-hmm. This would be philanthropic, I suppose, because I know there's no return. I would love to have a page. It doesn't even have to be TMA people, but I suppose that's where most of them would come from. Where, like, you can have a conversation. Mm-hmm. I would love it. And if it's 1,000 people, great. If it's 10, great, whatever. I don't give a fuck, you know? Mm-hmm. I mean, you can go, well, you got a group chat with your buddies. And I go, yeah, I got group chats, but I'm talking about this way I can hear, you know, other opinions. But it's not like
right.
You know what I mean? I don't know how, and I don't know, and I think that's what the intent was with the person who created the Reddit page.
Yeah.
And I just, and the person who did is truly a really smart person. Mm-hmm. And I just was like, oh man, you have no idea. I mean, that's going to be sewage, you know? Right. So I would never do it because it's going to be anonymous. And then I know what happens because I've already lived through it with multiple message boards, not just the Inside STL one. I don't know what the best platform is for it because
I think there is.
That's the thing.
Because anytime you have,
because Facebook, it's trends so much older, and you know.
To me, it gets down to people just don't talk the way, like you and me talking right now in a conversation is different than two people talking on social media.
Right, but for every one, like, I don't know what, you know, problematic, for lack of a better term, TMA listener, there's like however many, whatever. Yeah. There's a multitude who I truly enjoy, even online, not just that they're normal in human interaction in person, that I'm like, but by just avoiding it, I therefore don't get to interact with them. Like, I truly do enjoy doing that.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the best way to do it is, you know?
Right. I don't know if there is an answer. I really don't. Like, I just don't think, I think Facebook's probably
like,
your
is
best
there
bet.
a good online community? Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I really don't think, just Facebook would probably be the best bet, just because of the use of government names. That I think is the,
but then you still can get into the Trojan horse.
Oh, still, yeah. I mean, it's still there. I just don't think there is a perfect answer. Maybe like a message board on some fetish site, you know, where you got to be like, you know, 44 sub.
That's how I do like a good fetish site. Let's see. Jake Reynolds says, I only use IG and Facebook for funny animal videos that make me feel better about life.
Yeah, it's a good play.
MB 2020 says, what's Jackson's thoughts on the new STL logo on the Winter Classic helmets? Have you seen those?
I haven't seen the helmets.
Uh-oh. I was just on Instagram about an hour and a half ago.
Okay, I actually don't. I actually kind of like the Winter Classic uniforms this time around. I didn't love the powder blue ones that everyone was going crazy for a few years ago. I didn't think those were all that. I kind of like the simplicity of the new one. So the Blues just posted the helmet.
Yes, I saw it on Instagram about 90 minutes ago.
Okay, let's take a look. All right.
I doubt you follow the Blues on Instagram.
I do now.
Oh, my God.
Don't love it.
I had a feeling you wouldn't. You wouldn't.
It looks like the STLCC logo.
Wow, what an elitist comment.
I mean, does it not? A little bit.
I wouldn't know what the STLCC logo looks like.
The problem is with that, with the Blues posting that, that's the Cardinals kind of have the St. Louis STL logo thing cornered. Like, they nailed it. The STL,
boy, did they ever.
Like the one that's on Tim's hat right at this very moment.
Yes.
That they kind of nailed that, so doing any variation of it just doesn't resonate with me personally. I can only speak to myself. It just doesn't resonate with me. Where I think the Blue Note's an awesome logo. Like, actually, I think the Blue Note's money. Like, that's in terms of logos with sports teams, a lot.
But you can't get enough Buffalo Sabres.
It's the best. It says the entire name, city,
perhaps
and team.
Considered the least successful franchise in this century. But yet it has the ultimate delta of being the best uniform.
It's the logo itself, the buffalo, and then the sabers under it is so fucking awesome because it says it's Buffalo Sabres right there. You don't need.
Well, not
anything.
every city has an animal.
I know, but it's using their asset in their name being an animal.
I'm gonna get you a Sabres sweater. Will you wear it around?
Absolutely.
Jamie Rivers,
I love the colors.
The boards.
I love the colors, the blue and yellow.
I saw a lot of Sabres sweaters at the game yesterday.
Right?
Yeah.
I can't imagine that's a team like
it was so. And I'm like, is that a different blue? Because we were driving and I saw it from behind, and I'm like, okay, well, that's Tage Thompson, 72, as you know.
Of course, him and Chris Long. I'm trying to think, like, why would someone be a Sabres fan in St. Louis? Because, with, like, individual players, like, it wouldn't be crazy, like, for, like, my age people to wear, like, Peyton Manning jerseys, because the Colts won in 06, and they were awesome. That would make sense to me. Whereas, like, a Buffalo Sabre, I know Tage Thompson's really good, but the Sabres have been pretty awful over the last 2 decades.
They've struggled a mite bit ever since Hull's skate.
Maybe people they're like with me. They're like, this is just a beautiful sweater. Can't deny the beauty of this sweater and the logo especially.
Yeah, I had a lot of. Again, lot being relative.
Sure.
It wasn't like a Blackhawks or Red Wings game, but it was. I'm like, wow. When they scored to go ahead 3-2, I was really like upset, and I'm like, what is going on?
It's kind of good though, right?
Yeah, I mean, with my wife and my kids.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want to see them win, and it would have been 3 in a row, and you kind of know the deal that the schedule in December was so brutal, and really the second half of November with the opponents, and now you get some butt asses. You gotta beat the butt asses. Because I just want to have something to get excited about around here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, I totally agree. Quick take on, you said at the bowl.
You're going to give a hockey take?
That's right.
Holy shit.
I was going to give it today on TMA, but I forgot. Bowl and Bear Club is where he's at.
Yes, courtesy of the recovering alcoholic from Belleville and Webster Groves, who reached out and knew a 2 p.m. game would be optimal for me with 2 young children, and he was super kind. That's
as good as it gets.
You know what that did, sitting in that?
Ruined the rest of the season?
No, because I've kind of lived that with traveling with the teams, and I've been lucky enough to fly. I didn't do anything. This isn't a brag. Fuck off.
Actually coming out.
Yeah, absolutely. I was staying like the first time. I'm a month earlier when I'm flying with Pronger and McKinnis in the President's Trophy winning Blues. I was in Little Rock. So it was like surreal. And then staying at the Fairmont in my own room because of union rules that you couldn't share rooms. And I'm just like, this is unbelievable that, Larry Plow takes the media out. He was the GM of the Blues, takes the media out to dinner, get whatever you want. Mark Sauer was the president of the organization. This is all surreal. And then you travel with the Cardinals and you travel with the Rams. So it's easy to get spoiled by that. You recognize it in the moment. But sitting in that thing, and I wanted to text him and ask, but I didn't know if I'd be out of line, even though I have a good relationship, obviously, with the recovering alcoholic from Belleville and Webster. He offers me and Wellington his wife. That's when you know you're dealing with a real gentleman.
That's right.
And I wanted to go, how much does this cost? Like, I really wanted to know. Because a buddy of mine, our gambling friend, he got some tickets right down by, I think it's the visiting bench that you get the club access. When you see the Blues walk past. If you were to watch the games, you would see the Blues walk past on their way out to the ice. And I have an idea of what that cost. And I'm like, this is it. This is the greatest.
It's so sick.
Ever.
Yeah, I was there for Post Malone, courtesy of.
Oh, were you really?
It was it was just awesome. And it was a perfect view of the stage.
It made me want to make a lot of money.
It's really sick.
That was my reaction. I'm like, I got to get things going here. I got to be able to get this.
It's really sick. The reason I brought it up is because I think, I'm not saying that they should switch to it completely, but I think NHL should offer that camera angle from essentially, I'm going to say it, people are going to shit on me, but the baseline of the ice.
Nice. Absolutely. That's what they call it.
Yeah, from the baseline, the video game view. I think that would be better. I get why they do it where they do it for the advertisement on the boards.
That's it. I have to tell you, you could see I'd be curious what people would say about that.
Right, because if you're on the low side,
you could absolutely.
Yeah, bottom of the screen. Sometimes they're digging for the puck, and I don't know. I can't see anything if it's from above. You can also see the play develop a little bit more. I think I'd be able to pick up on some other things. I'm not saying switch to it completely, but give the option to view it from the sky.
It's such a drastic change from what I would call the horizontal view to more of a vertical view, which is shooting from, we were sitting directly behind Luukkonen, who had a hell of a game for Buffalo yesterday, because they got that thing set up where the Blues attacked twice. And you can see plays develop, and you can see guys' responsibilities, for lack of a better term, when the Blues missed their responsibility on Buffalo's first goal. You can see them develop. I wasn't thinking that, but I was like, man, this is really, I feel like I'm in the game more with this view.
Right. Because football does that. They have the sky. It's essentially the All-22 camera, and they'll offer that. Yeah. ESPN will do it for certain games. They'll offer the sky cam. I don't love it for football, just because I like to be a little bit closer. But for hockey, I think only hockey, because basketball you'd be running into the backboard issue. But with hockey, I really think it would make my enjoyment of the game
I wonder about
increase.
that. I'm curious about that. I mean, obviously, there's a reason why they don't do it.
I think the advertisement on the boards.
Yeah, but I mean, they've been shooting games this way before they're advertising boards. So I don't know. I was actually consciously thinking that as I was watching the game.
Pretty good view of it
from that angle yesterday. Yeah, I'm sitting there and I'm having booze but I'm like, I'm kind of locked in. And then the Sabres scored. I'm like, fuck. And my 2-year-old's like, what's wrong? I'm like, the Sabres scored. And then it kind of ends that conversation because there wasn't a whole lot there.
Sure, he didn't have a take on
didn't have a strong take. But we were enjoying Mike and Ike's.
Oh, yeah, they have a great candy selection.
Oh, my goodness.
God, I like a Mike.
Ran into that Tommy Ack in there.
Oh, I love Tommy Ack.
Tommy Ack, he's a big sound story guy. All right, we're getting recommendations here for social media platform. I would do this. I actually looked it up over the weekend. I'm like, I miss being able to communicate with the audience. I really do. But it's like I'm going to repeat, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. What would fool me thrice be?
J. Cole said, load the chopper, let it rain on you. In, what was that song? It was on 2014.
Oh, Trim My Shrubs.
That's the name of the podcast. J. Cole's Trim My Shrubs.
I do want that to be the name of the podcast.
100%. J. Cole, 2014, Forest Hills Drive. I'm just going to give you one more. No Role Models. Okay. The song No Role Models.
That's what it is.
Fool me 3
DBA,
times.
Trim My Shrubs.
Trim My Shrubs.
But I mean, I created the Inside STL message board. Fucking disaster.
Right.
The fan page is off the rails. None of us on the show. I think Martin's on Facebook, by the way. You ever see a recommended friend?
And it's Martin.
And it's Martin. But it's not Martin.
Right.
Have you seen it?
No, but I can imagine what it is. It's like Martin's like work Facebook in a way.
Oh, I don't. It's not. I mean, I don't know if it's intended to be private. I don't fucking care. I don't know. I'm sure he doesn't care. But just on the off chance, because I asked him, I said, "You on Facebook? Because we got this fan page thing." I don't remember what he was asking about something, and I go, "Well, there's this fan page on Facebook, and if you're in it, you think it's like the whole world, but then most of the audience isn't in it. But if you're in it, you think it like kind of is the show, and it's a tough thing to like differentiate in between." But I miss that. But this would be the third. This should be the third go round.
Yeah, right.
And it's just not going to work. I mean, and like it's fine,
Yeah.
I'm a lot closer to the 18th hole than I am the first hole.
Sure.
So why would I like bring this into my
when it could be a major pain in the ass?
Yeah.
And once you get started, it's like finasteride. You don't want to pull the plug so quick.
And then the thing is, like, it kind of needs to be like Old Warson. Not everybody can get in. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Right.
There's just little tells that it's better for you to, see if Ruth Park has it and available. Like if there's a foursome going out and there's a spot for
you got one more for
right. That's like there's some great people in this audience who I would love to be able to, but I don't like consider like people I'd go and have drinks with, not because I wouldn't, but I just don't know them well enough to. But I respect them and their opinions and so on and so forth. But I don't want to necessarily expose myself to like the other part of it, which is again, I know it's not the majority, but I'd like to do that. So what's the deal with Discord? We're getting a bunch of Discord recommendations.
It's essentially like a server. It's used a lot in gaming. From my interpretation of it,
are you using your real name?
I think you can use like a username, and therefore,
well, so then you get into the same.
Right. I want people can correct me, but I think that you can just use a username. I believe I used a username when I had a couple buddies streaming video games on Twitch during the pandemic, and it'd be like me and two other guys in there. And I thought it was the funniest thing ever.
When I streamed me playing on Bovada during the first couple months of COVID, the number of people watching was alarming, but it was great
because people aren't doing shit. And it's kind of fun because you're also in the chat with other people, and it's kind of fun. I had a buddy doing video games, and he was going really hard, like really trying and like working his ass off at it, doing it all the time. And then he went into the chat. He's like, "All right, I'm gonna look in the chat," and someone goes, "All right, I'll see you when I'm done with my homework." And he goes, "All right, that's gonna do it. I can't do this anymore." He's like, I'm
talking to a boy.
I got 14-year-olds in here talking about their homework. I'm done doing this. I was like, damn it. Keep going.
That's outstanding. What is Group Me? Would Group Me work? That would have to be verified phone numbers for the group.
Yes.
But some of these guys create fake numbers.
There's
so then
that.
How do you...
There's that. So GroupMe was something we used in college all the time because it was.
I don't know what it is. You're gonna have to tell me.
It's like an app where you just add people, and it's like a group messaging app. You know, you can create
I think that's what my bookie uses to communicate with me. Now that I'm thinking about
like
it,
100 people in there, and instead of like adding 100 phone numbers to a iMessage chat, and one guy's an Android, and it goes green. GroupMe is all in like one place. And you have to sign up with your real phone number, but you can change your username in each individual chat. So I think that would, again, defeat the purpose.
What we're looking for here is a way to have real names with real people.
I think
and they don't have to be like people I know,
right.
You know, or you know.
Right.
There's real human beings that are verified.
Right.
And I think it would be a great thing, you know?
Right, yeah.
I would love it. I don't know why I'm asking for it. It's not like there's any... You know, but I just enjoy being able to interact with the audience. I think it would help to like snuff out some of this bullshit that I read of things that are just like made up. But if nobody's communicating from our side, they can just exist. I mean, Martin, Doug, me, you, we're not on that fan page at all.
No.
I don't believe anybody's on the Reddit page.
No, I hope not. And that's the thing is like,
on the Reddit page.
and that's the thing. But the thing is, like you just talked about, like it's not for everybody. The people who probably are perpetuating said conspiracies would not be in the persona non grata. Therefore, it's like it would be good. Like I quality discourse is engaging.
I love it.
It's great.
I love when I feel like I've had a few emails. Where they're, like presenting, they're kind of passionate about things. And I'm like, this is great.
Right.
Well, like when we had Micah Sage on, for example, that was a great example. He used his real name, called them, like, ask whatever you want to ask. I'm happy to answer it. And the thing is, I might not have thought of it. I might be wrong. I don't know. It's not like I'm sitting here going, I'm perfect. This is the deal. You don't understand. We're just in a spot that I think maybe the 101 thing has opened people's eyes to that I haven't been making it up for the last however many years, that I'm not in control. Right. I mean, if I were in control, we'd be doing 90-minute segments, and Iggy would be sitting next to me. Right. If that is a big revelation, then that means you haven't really been paying attention.
Right.
But that's not in play. So, and then Jason Barrett drops are not forbidden.
No.
What are the other conspiracy theories? I'm trying to think. Send in your TMA conspiracy theories. I'll go one by one. I asked the cat about filling in. The cat does not want to come in. If he does, he wants to be involved in the show. He goes, hey, maybe this is just on me. He goes, but I would have a tough time with coming in and just like filling in on a show that I helped start. And I'm like, hey, man, God bless. This was me and him sitting at Bricktops 2 months ago or something like that. Because Doug was going to be going to, I think he went to Southern California for Nick's trip. Yeah. And I said, how about coming in? Yeah. Me, you, and Martin. 2004 all over again. He goes, maybe this makes me an asshole. I don't know. I go, I get it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Everybody's got their own thing.
Went to Bricktops December 24th.
I love Bricktops.
It
was open on December 24th.
Yeah, it was popping. Got the meatloaf.
Look at you. You're a meat and potatoes guy.
I ordered the meatloaf.
You went to Frontenac to get meatloaf. That's how you go meat and potatoes.
It was a big old brick of meatloaf and mashed potatoes, and I said, I'm a meat and potatoes guy.
You are.
Awesome.
Isn't it great?
It's awesome.
It's so good.
Good vibe in there, too. Cool.
If we go to spring training, and I think that's going to happen, but it's not a lock, there is essentially what is a Bricktops, but I think they changed the name, and it might be back to a Bricktops. That's where I saw on the night of one of President Trump's impeachments,
that's right.
His son, Eric.
Who I look like.
That's correct, a little bit, although he's like 6'5" or something.
Yeah, I can be 6'5".
And his wife, who is actually probably as tall as you, might be taller. I don't know. She probably had heels on.
Sure.
I think I got some images.
That's where it was. Is it Bricktop?
It was at Bricktop. I mean, it's on the water in the Intercoastal, so it's a little different setup.
Yeah.
But it was funny because he walks through, and some people start cheering, and some people start. But I'm just like, man, you can like the guy, you dislike him, but do we really need to like?
Yeah. That's where things are at.
I don't know. Yeah, this was what I've been. I don't even know. I think it was my wife's birthday, so February of 2021, actually. Yeah. And I'm like, and I think I went up to the maitre d' to ask a question. I go, I think that's Eric, and is it Laura or Lara? I think it might be Lara.
I'm not positive. Let's go with Lara.
She's the chairman of the Republican Party now, I think.
That's right.
Yeah. Let's see. As
I wish it was still Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood was the president?
No, but they yelled at the chair once at that RNC, and that's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah, here we go. I do have the picture. Oh, and he's wearing a mask. That ain't going to play well.
In Florida, no less.
Yeah, it was a free-for-all. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there he is.
Yeah. No, if I show this on my phone, would people see the cockpicks?
Yeah, it's best to invisible ink cockpicks.
Yeah. Yeah, look at that. No, you can see.
Yeah, the only politician I would cheer or boo for is cheer when Chris Gardner would walk through.
U.S. Senator.
Yeah, C.W. Gardner, I should say.
Now, there he is smiling as he gets cheered and booed.
Yeah, I'm sure, yeah. The crowd at Brickhouse wasn't gonna shake him. You know, he's probably been through it all.
Yeah, no shit. My dad was impeached 12 hours ago.
But these people at this restaurant in South Florida.
Martan's PC Monitor says a TMA Discord server or Slack would be the answer.
Slack.
What's that? So what do we got going? It seems like we might have solutions. By the way, you got to do shit, right?
It's all right.
No. For real. Here's what Jackson's got to do. You got to do best of for New Year's Day because we're off.
16 segments. Yeah, it's not fun. It's one thing cutting them; it's then voicing the intros and outros. That can be a real. It gets a little repetitive.
So I said, let's do this now because I didn't know what I would have later in the week.
Sure. I'm
sorry.
It's all right, baby.
I would love to find a way to do this though. Can you start a TMA Patreon for $5 a month and have some exclusive content? I don't want to charge people for.
Yeah, and then what are we gonna like? What's the exclusive content? You know, we talk a lot. You know,
I don't know.
There's another 30 minutes.
Only way to weed people out is to have them pay, I would think.
Yeah, that actually is probably the answer. But then you're getting into a real and then if it's once you get people paying for something, there's an obligation there, and it's more fun to do it organically. I would say, or more engaging to do it organically. If you're well, I have to do my weekly chat because if people paid, it might not be as it might start out okay, but then it eventually peters out.
Yeah, see, I would do. Gabe just sent me a text that's got to be of note. What in the hell?
Worry about the Alabama State Hornets?
I don't know what the hell. Placed a few TD score bets for Noel, Cook, and Carroll.
Yeah, I like that.
Parlayed Carroll and Cook. Also,
love that. Due
to an insider on ESPN 101 this morning, I placed a bet on over 60.5 points. Thoughts, concern.
Gabe, our king.
Oh, my God. Just outstanding. God bless the Colonel. Based on an insider on 101 ESPN.
That guy, we could have told him the over-under was 70, and he would have said go over.
What if it winds up being 35 to 28?
Yeah. I
would bet it. I would love to bet it. And people were texting in who were in Illinois, and they got the app, and they're like, it pays 8 to 1. I'm dead serious. I would bet it. I'd be the issue with it is the sweat would probably be over about 8 minutes into the game.
Right, because that's the thing is if we're approaching the end of the first quarter and it's 3-3,
right.
That ain't going over 60.
I just don't know how Iowa. I don't know.
I don't know anything about Iowa. I just imagine
Miami, Iowa State going off. That wasn't alarming.
Yeah.
Has there been one that went off that you're I really haven't.
I really haven't been paying attention. If they're on television, I'll flip it on just for background. But I don't think I've watched more than 10 plays of non-CFP bowl games. Because, who gives a damn? I'm
really intrigued to see what happens with Boise State tomorrow night.
I am too. I
think it might not be a good matchup for them. Reading up on the game, I don't know. That was interesting to Gabe, but then Gabe's like, yeah, I have no idea. I just made picks. I'm like, oh, you go with Boise State, Notre Dame, because most people are going the standard
Penn State.
Coin flip on Ohio State.
Yeah.
But it's Texas, Georgia, and Penn State,
right.
And then the coin flip on Ohio State, Oregon.
Georgia's got the biggest question mark to me, man.
But it's a wide delta. He could be damn good because it's not like people are Georgia's there because of Carson Beck at all. It's just it is the backup.
Right. It's a game manager situation. If he can manage the game properly, I think Georgia can look as good. I kind of get the
sense he might be balls to the wall.
I kind of like that too.
I know. I don't know. I actually have. Again, these were just darts, but I would make a nice amount of money if Boise State won. I'm obviously not expecting it, but I got Boise State and I got Arizona State. But I remember I was high on A&M, not because I thought they would win, but because the number was so damn high, and there was a clear path for them to get in, and they were plus 17,500. People are giving good suggestions in here. Let's see. So Slack. Jake Reynolds is excited about the picnic table coming back. Yeah, it's definitely being talked about, and the Cardinals, I believe, have okayed it. So it's just a matter of finding a place for us all to stay. It is so fucking expensive down there now. It was expensive before, but now it's another world. I'm telling you, it sounds like the most childlike anti-Frontenac choice at Bricktops, but fantastic chicken tenders. Wow. Carlos Spicy Wiener.
I love a good chicken tender.
See, I want to be in a Discord or a Slack or a chat or a page with Carlos Spicy Wiener and Jake Reynolds and Brother Abear and Alan Dadeville, who I just see pop, and Brian Henshin.
Yeah.
You know, I may have met these people or I know these people, but I know but it's not like they're like people like I text and go, hey, what are you doing? Or they're texting me, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I know them through the show and I know they're quality people.
Right.
And I'd love to be able to, like when the show announcement is that we're going to 101 ESPN, be able to communicate with them, answer everything in the world, as opposed to, like, you know, go post on the fan page and be told I'm a fucking asshole for just, like, you know, going and doing a show. To communicate with, I'd like that, but I don't know where to get it. I would think it's pretty easy. I mean, you just from like a group text with like 500 motherfuckers.
I think something about like something paid actually could, and it wouldn't have to be like a big number. And
then I can send the money back to you?
Or like the money could go to like charity, or like, and at the end of the year you do something with the money for the people. And I don't know, there could be something with that, because that oftentimes, like, just putting money on the table is like, some of the shit disturbers are like, fuck, I don't want money on the table. But the people who are interested, especially if it's not like $5 just going to wherever, if it was like something going towards,
and then like talk to Doug and Martin and say, hey, get in here and just because Doug will occasionally participate.
Yeah,
Doug's
that could be. I think
thing.
that actually, whoever said that, good on you, because I think that could be the answer.
I think it was somebody saying like a Patreon.
Because a Patreon, something like that, because they have like a group messaging kind of thing, or posting with comments on it. Like, you could post a thread being like, let's talk it over, and then people could just fire it in, and you could respond, and it would only be for people who have paid to get in.
Yeah.
And again, the money would go to something greater.
Yeah, I'm not looking to like make another whatever
with
this. I just want a place to be able to bullshit with the audience, but keep out the fuck boys.
Right, and I think a surcharge might keep out the fuck boys. Although, you know, fuck boys.
I know. I mean, sometimes I'm reading Gabe's thing, and Gabe's like, yeah, just keep paying me to be here to tell me to fuck off. I don't really care. And that's 100% his attitude.
Right, yeah.
He's like, yeah, you hate me so much. Just keep paying to read me.
Yeah, hate pays.
Yeah. Brother Abear says Eric Trump had to have a bunch of work done just to look half as good as Jackson. Is that true? Has he gone brewing?
You don't know how much work I've had done, Mr. Abear. Yeah, nose, chin. They're doing a new thing where they widen the eye. It's a whole thing.
Yeah. Jackson is a handsome fellow. How about that? That's from a Toy Maltese Mafia family.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Can you throw an Iggy Plowsy space segment for the best of on Wednesday? That's from Jake. Are the best of strictly the TMA 101? Is that right?
So they have to. They're segments from 101 ESPN.
So on Christmas, yes, my in-laws were over on Christmas. We're having dinner, and my mother-in-law, big fan of the show, loves the Plowhawk, says, "Oh, I was listening to the show this morning," and I'm thinking to myself, "I don't think we were on, but I don't want to." And she goes, "Oh, there was a segment with the Plowboy, and Big Al was calling in. It was so good."
They were playing 105.7.
You think she was HD2ing?
Well, that's the only Plowboy is.
Because I was like, oh, I guess Jackson put on some old clips.
No, it would have been 105.7.
How about
HD2.
that? Okay,
because that's still running. I mean, TMA All Day is also still running all day, and so that stuff's on there. But for the 101 best ofs, and also so like for Christmas, that was, you know, what was that, 6 days ago when the time this new one will play. So I kind of...
Yeah, what do you...
Yeah. You dig a little deep, but have a little
Puts a man to the test.
Certainly
Puts a man to the test.
But it's, you know, this is what you do, baby. This is the job.
Jake Reynolds says, I would love to be a part, but I bring nothing to the table. Jake Reynolds, I just disagree. You're passionate about the show. I know you're a kind human being.
Yeah. Everyone has an opinion.
Yeah.
Everyone has an opinion.
Yeah. You know. The chicken tendies at Sportsman's Bar is unreal. I assume that's Sportsman's Park.
Will have had them. Can't agree.
Yeah.
They're really solid. I like the wings there.
I like them too. Let's see. Anything else? Can we pay to have Plowsy and Origi do question of the day at the picnic table? Anything's possible. Shit, I don't know. I mean, Hubbard's got to pay for them to go down to Florida. They got to pay for us, which I think is the holdup to the situation. But I would love. I mean, man, listen, I would love to have those boys back. I think the Plowhawk's probably gone.
Yeah.
You know, into another career.
Yeah.
Full on. Iggy was in the chat today during TMA, talking about Learn having red hair. Is that what he said?
Because I was asking people what America's favorite redhead,
and somebody said, or Iggy said, Learn.
Yeah, and it's certainly a nominee.
Big Worm says, I think the subscription is the best idea. Money can go to Annie's Hope. I think a ton of people would sign up for that. Okay, well maybe we got something here.
Yeah, it could be the answer. I really think it could be the answer.
And so what would we have? We'd have like a...
Patreon.
It'd be Patreon?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, do a Patreon.
And so then you can chat on Patreon?
Yeah, you could so you as the owner of the Patreon could post here's the thread for today, and just open it up, maybe prompt otherwise, and then people would comment under it. Now again, it'd be usernames, but they'd be paid usernames, and then you could comment right under their comment, just like a Facebook post essentially. But it's to get even into the place to see the thread, you'd have to pay the money, and then if you want to post some tasteful nudes or something,
Yeah, tasteful. You can have a Patreon with a private Discord server, I think. See, I don't know what that means.
I think I would just do it on the Patreon page itself. I don't subscribe to that many Patreons, but there's been some sports media stuff where I've done it, or movie stuff, and it's, interesting, if nothing else. I'm
with Jackson that it would eventually maybe anyway turn into something that you have to do instead of something you want to do, but I don't know anything.
I think you'd have to, on the front end, be this is an organic chat room session.
But I think it can be a community. It just needs, you just need to weed out the shit disturbers.
Right.
I'm just not interested in that. And who is? I mean, that's what they're the people here are why do you have that thing? Right. All they do is shit on you guys. And I don't have a good answer to that question. I have no idea. And it's like an echo chamber of everything's terrible, Meanwhile, on the outside of the echo chamber, they're thrilled about the show. It's a very weird thing that the thing that I theoretically could just go in right now and just archive and it goes away.
Yeah.
They're like, why don't you do that? And I go, I don't really have a good answer to that.
Yeah. It's an igloo in the desert, freezing in the
desert.
Freezing in the igloo. And then the people outside the igloo are like, boy, it's hot outside.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I would love to be able to interact, but again, I did this with the Inside STL message board, I did it with the fan page. I don't want to do it a third time and then go, why the fuck do I keep trying to do this? I don't need to.
Gets back to Trim Your Shrubs by J. Cole.
I think it does, yeah. Fool me thrice.
Load the chopper, let it rain on you.
I'd have nothing to do all day at work if there was no fan pin. That's from Jake Reynolds. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, is there a way to do it with the fan pin?
Can't imagine. I don't think so. I don't think with Instagram, maybe Instagram.
Well, I can remove everybody, and then the people who pay.
Yeah.
But then it gets
the private. Then you're Venmo. But Patreon, it's all one place. You have to pay Patreon to get in there. Whereas you'd be referencing Venmo accounts. Instagram does some. Me, I subscribe to Bear Down Cuz for my gambling.
Yeah,
picks.
I know he's very sharp.
Yeah, very, very sharp. So there's that, but there's not really a chat feature outside of posting an Instagram post and people just going crazy in the comments. But that, again, more tasteful nudes.
And that's what we're looking for, tasteful nudes.
Essentially.
Hey, what do you think of this Aspen Rain that I posted in my my fan page? Fan?
Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah.
I'd say.
She's on my radar.
That's a place to be. That's where stars start,
Ella Reese, Abigail Mack, Gabby Carter.
Yeah, no one's really real until they're on your radar. And then they get on your radar. And then
Lana Rhoades, although Caden was ahead of me on that. She goes, oh, Lana Rhoades, you mean the one I had dinner with last night? I'm like, oh!
That's timely, though. Great minds think alike.
She beat me to it. She wasn't high on Jill Cassidy. She doesn't have an ass. And I go, I don't think she's going to be a star.
Right.
And I get where she's coming from. She goes, but I don't think she had any tats. And she goes, a girl to not have tats at this point going into the industry, they're like...
You guys are like Todd McShay and Mel Kiper.
It's so great. It's so great. And I get so excited. I'm like, I'm going to be 50 in a couple of years. And I'm still doing this shit. That's so fucked up. There's no way to spin that into anything. No, there's not. I see you trying to do it with that head bob. It doesn't matter. There's no...
You guys are the Todd McShay and Mel Kiper. You don't like
She actually makes a lot of money doing this.
But
I'm just a guy with a wife of 13 years and 2 kids in St. Louis finding porn stars.
Listen, everybody needs a passion.
And this honestly is mine.
And that's a good thing. It should be celebrated. Passions are like... some cliche. Yeah, I'm fresh out.
Jackson, you got the Music City Bowl. You got to do best ofs, and I kept you. And I was planning on doing a 20-minute.
It's all right, man.
We'll shut it down. Thank you, everybody, for participating. Great crowd. Maybe we're going to come up with something here.
Yeah.
I belong to some YouTube channels that have Discord servers and Patreons.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm being serious about this. I'd really love to do it. Email me, please, if you could. McKernan at InsideSTL.com, because I would love to make this happen. Because, the fan page might have to go by the wayside.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have to, but it's just like, what are we doing?
Right.
But I would like to be able to communicate with it. Like, why do we have something that we have downside on that shits on us and the show? And this has been going on for years. But I want to participate and interact with the audience. So where can we do it?
A new public square. That's what we're looking at. New public square.
So I'm open to it, but I still deep down, I'm trying to create a utopia.
Yeah. Again, it still won't be. Even this Patreon won't be perfect.
Right, because I mean, here Gabe's got people spending $99.99 a year or whatever he had, all discounts. And then I just sit and I read it and I go, wow, isn't it odd for these people to hate, follow, and pay the guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I just see Gabe's response, just say whatever you want, just keep paying. He's just sitting there. He's just
Gabe Nirvana is real too.
Gabe Nirvana it's so good.
Gabe and Doug, they do a podcast.
They're different though.
Yeah,
They're different.
Yeah, it is a different kind of. I don't give a fuck. But it's still. But they're both.
See, I'll say this. So I think Gabe's Nirvana might be the ultimate, because Gabe honestly does not care if people like him. I think Doug kind of does.
Sure. Sure.
I think he kind of does. But Gabe absolutely doesn't. That's interesting. Gabe's got the true Nirvana.
Yeah, he does.
But I think for Gabe, he actually gets money from the people who hate him.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the ultimate, I'm going no Vaseline on you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Doug, it's not apples to apples.
Yeah, it's a little different.
Who's got the better Nirvana? Because Gabe's getting money from people who can't get enough of him.
Gabe probably, because he's asked such ridiculous question that there's no chance in hell he would have the answer to, but he gets asked time and time and time and time again. Time and time and time and time and time again. And there's hysteria and spikes, after the Texas A&M game, Gabe's got to go deal with that fucking war front. And and then also try to calm people down when X name transfers come into town, it's and then people, but there's always insiders around. He's someone on our message boards posted that they saw whoever at fucking Tiger Tattoo.
Ooh,
and
was it?
Exactly, and then people are ooh, and then it's well, that guy wasn't at Tiger Tattoo. He was in Shreveport, Louisiana.
He's gotta smoke it out.
Yeah, there's not that's not the case. So I assume Gabe's Nirvana is better because I think he has to put up with more shit right in his face. I think Doug might have the volume might be just as high, but it's not right in his face.
That is true. That part's true.
And Gabe's place is the one spot for just straight Mizzou athletics.
I know.
Just
Colonel's got a monopoly.
Straight Mizzou.
So
obviously STL Today does stuff and other sites, but straight Mizzou coverage all the time.
When he told me what he was going to be doing, this was he was asking me what I thought about it. I go, oh God. I said, do you need investors? Let me in.
Right.
Oh, yeah. You're going to kill it. And he goes, you think so? I go, oh. You're one of two guys who has that whole fan base.
Yep.
It's gold.
Yeah. Now he's the authority of Mizzou News, as he should be.
So we're like the TMA news authority because we have the passionate following, except we're the only ones who report the news, except we're told that we're making shit up about our own show.
Yeah, yes. And I'm sure Gabe gets told that he's making shit up about the Tigers.
Right, except he's making it up about a football team.
Right. Well,
or the 1 out of 100 questions about the basketball team.
It's all about perspective.
Amen. All right, Jackson. Jackson's got best ofs to create and Music City Bowls to watch. For Jackson Burkett, I'm Tim McKernan. Thank you to Mark Hanna of Evergreen Wealth Strategies. Thank you to James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency. Thank you to Seth Goldcamp of Design Air Heating and Cooling. And thank you to Jamie Burkhardt and Peter Munganast, St. Louis Acura, Munganast, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota. This has been the Tim McKernan Show podcast.